Everybody, it's Real People Gaming. I'm Dustin.
And I'm Jenn. This past weekend, we went to Helix Esports in North Bergen, New Jersey to watch the NYXL Overwatch League watch party. It was hosted by RutgersEsports, Helix Esports, as well as NYXL, and it was a pretty awesome time.
Yeah, the whole thing had the vibe of a giant basement party for the most part. Like a nice little camaraderie mecca of all things esports.
It was the ultimate basement land. Today, we're going to get into our new segment. It's called Real.People.Rating. This is a new series where Dustin and I go from event to event, critiquing it, saying where it could show some improvement, and explaining what we liked.
I think we should start off with some of the things that we felt might have been missed opportunities.
Which
Probably
weren't many.
Yeah, probably could have stood for a little bit of improvements, but yeah, again, honestly, the thing was pretty spot. There were a few things that could have used a little tweaking. Do you want to give your opinion?
Yeah. So when you walk in, you're immediately flooded by tons of PCs, really high quality, very nice. And then there's an upstairs section, which seems almost like a different venue completely. I don't know if Helix was borrowing the space, renting it, if they own both, but it was more like a wedding venue that was kind of mapped off. When you walk into the right, there is a screen. It's the main watching area, clearly, and they have bleachers, seats. It was cool. To the left, they had Super Smash Brothers. In front, they had a refreshments table, but this is what they probably could have done better. It seemed a little messy.
Yeah, the upstairs was definitely felt improvised. I mean, they had to really accommodate for the amount of people that they had going in there, considering it was sold out.
It was sold out.
I mean, they did a pretty decent job with it, but considering how the bottom tier of the venue looked, the upstairs just seemed a little thrown together. Even with the actual TV they used for the viewing.
It was a little small for the space and the amount of people that were watching it. It was a big TV, relatively speaking, if it was in your house or if it was just for a few of your friends. It was a huge TV, but it should have been bigger. Maybe a projector with a screen that came down. That's really one thing.
Some issues with the sound quality, too, cutting in and out. Not quite sure exactly what the source of it was, but while it wasn't a deal breaker, it was definitely distracting.
Yeah, and then aside from that, which was good, but could have been bigger, maybe less sound issues. That's really not something you can fix often.
Yeah, that's more in the moment.
Yeah, it is in the moment. It's hard to combat when you're there, and it wasn't overwhelming. But their refreshments table was a little thrown together as well. They had 2-liter bottles of soda just kind of sitting there. Allegedly pizza.
Yeah, which was not going to last long.
We missed it.
And 1,500 hungry boys.
Not 1,500. There's no way. Do you really think there's 1,500 people there?
Wasn't it 15 was the max number?
1,500?
We'll look into it.
I don't think so. That's a lot of people. But they had somebody tending it, which was nice. He had the official vest, everything like that. And then they had Super Smash Brothers behind it. It didn't look bad, but it could have been better. That one particular area, which was the upstairs, clearly a different section from Helix. There's more things that we liked.
Yeah, honestly, if I had to sum it all up, that's probably the only negatives I had from it, if I'm being honest. Not to repeat myself, but the whole thing just had a great vibe to it. Everybody was, hanging out, playing games. There was no trolling that much. Not a lot of toxicity. People were just there minding their business. A lot of good camaraderie, a lot of good competitiveness. The actual Helix portion of it, while there was a lot of people, had a very good flow to it. The traffic was able to move in and out pretty nicely. You didn't feel overwhelmed. Everybody was on their own systems. Everybody was on their own setups.
And they had multiple systems. Yeah. They had over 100 PC setups, and they were really high quality, very visually astounding. But they also had Xbox and PlayStation, which personally I was a fan of, as I am a console gamer. I can play on PC, but I am more comfortable on the Xbox, so I was glad that was an option.
Yeah.
As you move around the actual lounge itself, they did have separate rooms. I think they had about 3 rooms total for visual watching of the actual NYXL games and whatever Overwatch game was happening at that time. But they also had more LAN rooms as well, so maybe they had 2 of those. All of them were packed with PCs. They did have screens in every room so you could watch the actual matches, and if you're not familiar with Overwatch League, it's essentially the Major League Baseball of Overwatch, the video game. NYXL is probably the best team in the league, just statistically and personally, because they are local to us, so I'm a big fan of NYXL. But it was a really high quality venue, and all of the rooms were set up almost like panels. It felt like a mini convention,
It
really.
honestly did, yeah. Like I said, everybody that was there just seemed like they were just really enjoying themselves, which really fed into the atmosphere the whole night.
It definitely did, which leads me to the tournaments that they had. They had a collegiate, at least most of the teams were collegiate that had entered. I don't know if there was some randoms, but they had a full LAN tournament happening, which, coming from a LAN tournament background, was really fun for me. I got to see a lot of my friends, RutgersEsports and NJIT, heavy hitter competitors. They were competing in it, and there was a $1,000 prize pool. The event itself also had celebrity. Golden Boy FTW, follow him on Twitter. He was actually at the event, just enjoying it. I think he did a little streaming as well. They didn't do casting of the actual LAN tournament, as they didn't want to interfere with the viewership of the Overwatch League on Twitch. But Golden Boy was there, celebrity. He's been a very successful caster for about the past 6 years. He's had his hand in every single game. It was cool to see him there. And he was mingling with everybody.
Yeah, just as a fan.
Just as a fan. I want to shout an honorable mention to the lit candles that were around. Anybody who goes to local LAN tournaments, you know that it can get a bit smelly. So candles were a really nice touch.
Somebody did some consulting on that one.
I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Definitely.